Hello, everyone.
Good evening, everybody.
You can all hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. Just letting everybody in. Have we had a nice day? Has it been okay?
Yeah. Yep. All
Not
good.
too bad. All good. That's good. I feel like the days are just whipping by at the moment.
Yes, they are.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's still COVID come down or what it is, but the year is going very quickly. I'm not keeping up at this stage.
Nope.
So tonight is all things, well, session 4. So session 4, we sort of touch on a few different topics. So there's no slideshow tonight. It's simply just me talking and also obviously you guys talking. But yeah, we touch on sort of lapses, sleep, mindfulness, a few sort of different, more of like the sort of well-being side of things, because I think we would all agree that generally everyone sort of knows what to eat, generally speaking, but making the decision to choose the right thing to eat can be also impacted by other factors, such as feeling really fatigued or feeling really stressed, or using food as a bit of a coping strategy. So there's other reasons why we choose to eat the foods that we sometimes eat. So tonight is a bit more looking at the wellness side of things as such. So, but as always, I want to hear from you guys, and I want to hear how the last couple of weeks have been. And the question that I'll ask is, what are some positive steps that perhaps you've taken in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks that maybe they haven't necessarily resulted in actual sort of outcomes, but you feel like it's a positive step in the right direction. So Melinda, I'll start with you just because you're at the top of my screen.
Okay. I think what I've been doing the last 4 weeks is walking. So I've been doing a lot of walking. So maybe 4 to 5 times a week.
Right.
And I have this, well, I don't know whether the 10,000 steps works or not, but I've been tracking how many steps I've been taking. And this month, my steps are quite higher than last month. So yeah, and I feel I haven't lost any weight. I don't think I have, but I feel lighter. So one of the things that I know has improved is at the beginning when I started walking. I feel very tired, and I have to catch my breath all the time, and also even climbing the stairs. Like I have maybe just even 7 steps. I feel I can't go on, but now I feel lighter. So yeah,
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's great that you're feeling those results, because it's so true. You don't necessarily have to see results on scales. Scales are not a reliable indicator of whether you're having success or not. But it's that feeling of how you're mentally feeling. Am I feeling positive in my body, or am I feeling a bit negative? So that's great that your regular walking is resulting in that, Melinda. I'm thrilled. So were you doing any walking prior to starting this program, or not consistently?
I did, but not consistently. And also because the nature of my work, I sit in the computer all day. I am working from home for the last 2 years. So yeah, it really made a lot of difference the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, good on you. Well, that's great. I'm thrilled for you. Thanks, Melinda. That's wonderful. Marilyn, how are you?
Good, thanks, honey. How are you?
Yeah, good. Tell me,
That's
what's a positive step you've taken?
I'm trying to think. Well, I've been on this journey for quite a while now. I've been doing this, I'm trying to improve my health since October of last year.
Yep.
I have more consistently been doing some walking. I've been doing it about 4 days a week.
Great.
So that's good, as well as what I do at work.
Mm-hmm.
I average about 9,000 steps a day. I've got a Fitbit, and I do about, on average, about 56 minutes of, what do you call it, in the yellow zone, where it's fat burning, but it's not actually cardio.
I don't have a Fitbit. I'm not very helpful with this stuff.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Well,
But yeah,
get
but
your
still.
heart, your heart rate's up to, my heart rate sits at about between 60 and 64 normally when it's resting.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay. Yep.
It gets up to about 100.
Oh, good. Yeah, okay. So it's,
So
yeah.
I'm doing about 50 minutes of that a day.
Yes.
53. 53 is the average, actually.
Excellent. Good one.
So
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, but a lot of the work walking I do is sort of passive walking, just walking around the room, and because I'm in the classroom, so that type of thing. But my diet's still on track. I've had a couple of challenges. I've noticed this week we've had a few people bringing in sweets, because that's my downfall. But I thought, oh, bugger it, I'll have one. Like I used to have a lot. Like
yes.
But now I had one, and I thought I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. I was being social with everybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I haven't gained any weight since Easter, and I thought I might have, because I've been doing this a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was really strict before. I mean, really strict. Like saint strict.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm just trying to fit it in with my life.
Yes.
If someone wants, like, if I go out for, I might go out for dinner. I went out for dinner last month for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Just
lovely
stuff like that, which I wouldn't have done before. I hadn't been out for dinner. I hadn't, done any of those sort of things.
Yeah, nice, fantastic.
But that's good.
That's great. Yeah. I love that you took the approach of, rather than saying no entirely to the sweet stuff, is having a little bit, enjoying it, being part of things. That's right. So not feeling like you're denying yourself, because as soon as you say, I'm not going to have anything ever, then all you want is the sweet stuff.
And then you come down on yourself too hard in your head too, I think.
Of course, exactly. And that's what we'll be touching on tonight, the idea of lapses and the idea of relapsing. So that's great. Excellent. Good on you, Marilyn. Wonderful. Anne, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I haven't, seems to have been a very quick 2 weeks.
Yeah,
anyway,
I know, great. Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, I'm okay. So I used to buy like a packet, so the little packets of chips, so the little packet of chips didn't hurt, blah, blah. But I haven't actually bought chips there for the couple of weeks, so I can sort of walk past them in the supermarket.
Are you missing them?
No, not really. I'd like to buy them. I'm not craving for them.
Okay, good. Yeah.
But just one question here. I don't actually seem to get a full signal. When they say when you feel full, you stop. I never seem to get that.
Yeah, interesting.
Whether it's just me, but I never sort of think, oh well, I've had enough now and stop.
Yeah.
I just think it was on my plate anyway. But no, otherwise I've been probably eating a bit more fruit, because I wasn't terrific on fruit. So fruit's not too bad.
Yep.
But I think I've lost a little bit of weight actually on the scale, so just a little bit. But that's okay. And I do a couple of mornings a week. I do an exercise program at the gym, so I'm actually putting my alarm on 15 minutes earlier than I would normally do it. So I go and ride the bike for a little bit longer before we do the exercise class. So.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. So you're adding a little bit more cardio into that routine.
Just 15 minutes, but just little things. If I
Absolutely.
did half an hour, I might talk myself out of it.
Absolutely. But just like an extra donut a day adds up, an extra 15 minutes of cardio here, a little bit of cardio here adds up as well. So 15 minutes is always going to be better than no minutes. So that's great. Yeah, good on you, Anne. Fantastic. Joe, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Katie?
Yeah, good, thank you. Tell me how you've been.
That's good. I've been fairly well. I've just been experimenting with trying to get more veggies in different ways. Like last night, I roasted quite a few vegetables and just mixed it with some spinach and rocket, and then put in some feta and avocado and had that with tea last night and again for lunch today. So it's just experimenting with, just adding more veggies in.
Yeah, yum. Good on you. Fantastic. And are you still practicing the idea of... Yeah, good. That's great. That's an excellent one to be working on. And in addition to your not taking the extra bit of food in fear of feeling hungry, are you still working on that?
Yes. No. From not eating food, you can survive to the next meal.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, good. I'm glad that's still working for you. Good on you, Joanne. Your internet's a little bit sketchy tonight, so I'll just yeah, that's fine. Don't worry. You can sit tight. Okay, Giuseppe, how are you?
Good. How you going?
Yeah, good. How have you been traveling along the last few weeks?
Yeah, well, I think the place where I suppose has helped me, that been really positive and eye-opening as well, has been around looking up nutritional information. It's been really surprising as well, which is some of the things I've uncovered. Like it was like I had these sort of succotash crackers that were like seaweed succotash crackers.
Yeah.
And they're incredibly high in sodium. And when I ran that app that you can sort of compare nutritional information, it was even recommending like the sort of the cheese flavored succotash, like, wow, even that's like even a better option than having the seaweed. It's because of the soy sauce as one of the main ingredients. Yeah. And so I've been playing around with some of the dishes. So mixing lentils in with bolognese sauce, and even like, comparing pastas. Like I found that there's a lot of added sugar with some of the gnocchi, which is just surprising to me. Why? Where does it fit within that product?
That's great.
It has been making a difference. So for me, I really whittle down the weight during the week. It's the weekends where it's a bit sort of there's sort of the great reversal. I have noticed that there has been I've been able to whittle down a bit more just by being a bit more conscientious. I haven't touched any chocolate, which I'm really happy about.
Oh, bravo.
Thank you. So I might have a Coke Zero.
Yeah.
I think
you have to live a little bit.
two weeks or so. But no, that was one thing I was quite comfortable, because I don't have a really much of a sweet tooth anyway. But no, looking up the nutritional information has been a real boon. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Once you've got the skill set to be able to read a label and sort of, do a bit of comparison and start to look at what things actually contain, that's our best armor against all of this stuff, is having the education to be able to know what's in a product, because we get so comfortable just looking at the front of a package and thinking, oh, well, it's got raspberries on it, so it must have raspberries in it. But actually it's got nothing in it. It's just a whole load of sugar. So, so that's great. I'm thrilled for you, Giuseppe. That's so great that it's been, helpful in that sense. And that will be helpful forever now. That will just be something that you'll always be able to use. So fantastic. I'm thrilled for you. Carolina, how are you?
Hello. A bit better now.
Better? I know. It takes a long time, doesn't it?
No, I actually recovered from COVID, and I think I now picked up a cold. I think it's just my immune system not going very well, but just bought some vitamins and stuff to help myself a bit. But apart from that, so this last month's been very weird. I didn't have a chance to cook much, so I used to do quite a lot of meal planning and try to organize our busy lives a bit. But yes, only so good steps in the last, I would say, week. This week I've been walking twice, which is a win for me because I have a quite busy job, so I don't get up from my chair often enough. So after the last session, I realized I don't get up very often. So I'm trying to do that every hour now.
Fantastic.
And,
Good.
I went because I'm not feeling great. So I felt like I needed a break. And so rather than going to the sofa or something like that, I decided to go and go for a walk. And on top of that, I'm watching my sizes, my meal sizes a bit. I'm quite fortunate. I don't put on a lot of weight easily. So my husband eats a lot, and I basically eat the same as he eats. He's of course taller, etc. But so I'm starting to be more conscious about it, and just to and just to compare to his portion at least. So I'm trying to just get a bit more conscious about it, and I think I'm getting there slowly.
Yeah, fantastic. I think considering how poorly you've been feeling, you're doing an amazing job, because the last thing you feel like doing is walking when you're feeling so wretched, and COVID mucks you around for a few weeks. Like it's not just So I think all of that is wonderful considering how poorly you've been feeling. So that's excellent. I love that you're looking at your portion sizing, your meal planning, getting up and around and moving. It's so easy to sit in our chairs for 4, 6, 8 hours without even realizing. So that's fantastic. They sound like really positive little steps, Caroline, and good on you. Hopefully when we next see you, you'll be feeling 100% and you'll be bouncing off the walls again. Hopefully. Ro, how are you? Sorry, you've been very patient.
Hi, I'm okay. Just try to, I don't know if you can see me.
Oops, no, you're fine. Don't worry. No worries at all.
So I'm improvising a lot. I wrote down preparation is key. Just making sure I don't run out of. It's healthy.
Yes, definitely.
So, and protein is the big one for me. Having been vegetarian for a long time, I realized that really I wasn't getting enough protein. So, and in curbing your hunger as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Enough. So, it's good. And then the other thing was adding just a little bit of weights every other day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're my things.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. I'm thrilled to hear that. Yeah, absolutely. And when you say adding a few weights, you mean as into your exercise regime? You've been doing some strength-based activity?
Yeah.
So, brilliant. Good on you.
I mean, I run, just a short, interval running regularly. On and off for years. So
yeah, good on you.
And I can teach several types of yoga, so I just have my own stuff that I do. So I'm not doing to do it, and adding in the this is good too.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, we should have had you teach us a yoga class. That would have been a great way to do a session. Goodness. No, that's great, Ro. I'm thrilled to hear that. The strength-based activity is so important, and it really gets overlooked a lot of the time. We all get sort of caught up in cardio activity, but as we age, the strength-based stuff is just so critical for our skeleton and our bone mass and things. So that's brilliant. It's really great, Ro, that you're including that more.
Yeah, strength and balance.
Yes, balance.
That you add balance into, is really important. I
think. 100%. It's something that just slowly fades away, balance. Like I think it is something we do need to all be working on. So it's a good reminder for me as well. So thank you, Ro. Well, that is excellent. I am thrilled for you all. And of course, it's life, so we cannot all perfect all the time, and it's good just to celebrate the little wins and just to focus on what has been working well for us, but of course it's not going to always be like that. There will be times where we get thrown a curveball, and that's okay too, because that's life. So so it all ends up balancing out, I think. But I'm going to be referring to session 4 in your work booklet. So if you would like to follow along, you're very, very welcome to. So talking about lapses, so I'm on page 96. So when we talk about lapses, it's a really good example of a lapse is just like what Marilyn said before. So where something comes up, you're at an event, you're at a party, you're at a celebration, something comes up, there's all this sort of this beautiful, amazing, delicious food. It's generally sweet food. It's generally high in energy or high in salt or fat and those types of things. And you think, blow it, I'm just going to eat tonight. Like, I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to enjoy the party. I'm just going to do it. And all power to you. That is exactly how you should approach it. We can't be sort of so tightly wound that we can't even go and enjoy a party now. Okay. So it is about balance as much as we all hear about that. It's about doing your very best the majority of the time. But when these things occur, we get into it and we enjoy it, and we don't let our food rules stop us from having a nice time as well. However, it's really important to then also say on the back of that is that a lapse is a manageable, okay thing. It's when we start to relapse that it becomes a bit of a problem. So it's when these things start happening frequently, weekly, daily. Okay. I was running a nutrition clinic today at a workplace, and I was talking to lots of different shift workers, and one particular man came and he had done his food diary for me, and on every single day, and he hadn't even realized it until I circled it, there was something. There was a Mars bar, there was a donut, there was a bowl of ice cream, there was, there was something on every single day that was an incredibly energy dense, high in salt, high in fat thing. And it wasn't until I circled it and showed him and said, all these things add up really, really quickly. And it was, and he just said, that's just a habit. I don't even realize that I'm even doing that. It's just because there's nothing else to eat here at work. So I just go to the vending machine and grab something, but that's what we're talking about with a relapse. It's that stuff that adds up. So very, very quickly, any sort of weight loss that you might have had gets put back on again as soon as you start having those energy dense snacks really, really frequently. Okay. So the one-off time, the bit of cake at a morning tea, all that stuff is okay. But when you're doing it more times than not, that's when it becomes a bit of a problem for us. Okay. So when we're working with lapses, some good ways to sort of go about it is to actually plan for your lapses. So I do this a bit myself. Last weekend, I went on a girls' weekend where all us mums went out for a night or two. And I knew that I was going to be eating a lot of sort of, rich foods and wine and doing all of that. So all last week, I sort of made a conscious effort just to sort of rein things in a bit, because I knew that on the weekend I was going to lapse, and I was going to lapse hard. So I, made sure that during the week I exercised regularly. I didn't consume, my portions were managed. I drank plenty of water. I ate lots of fruits and veggies, and, did the things to prepare for my lapse as such. And now I'm back into the next week, and I'm just back into my routine again. So that's a really good strategy for managing with lapses, is planning for things, not arriving on the day and going, oh, shivers, I'm here now and I've actually eaten really poorly all week, and now I'm going to come and have a big night out and eat and drink everything as well. So being organized and planning for your lapses is a really good way to sort of manage them and know that they're coming up, and then not feel any guilt when you are there at the party or the celebration or work thing. It's okay. You can enjoy it and you can relax. Does anyone have any questions about lapses, or whether they've got examples or things that they've got coming up that they might plan for? No worries if not. When planning as well, a good way to do it, it sort of depends. For some people, it helps to really plan the lapse, as in if you've got a friend that you like to have coffee with and they always want to have cake, or they always want to have, something sort of rich and things, you can really plan for it and think, well, I'm just going to have a cup of tea, and then I might have a small biscuit, or I might have just half a piece of cake or something. Plan for the lapse. So then when it is there in front of you, you're fully equipped and sort of, ready to sort of manage it as such. There's an activity on page 97 just for you to sort of have a go at yourself, just for planning for lapses. That can be a good one. I mean, you don't have to do this every single time. This is just to sort of get you into the habit of planning for lapses, okay? So that's quite an easy, quick activity that you can do when you've got a little bit of time. Social eating. Now, a lot of the time that I was doing this session the last couple of years, it's been COVID. So I've just sort of skimmed over this part going, no one's socially eating anyway, so don't even worry about it. But now, of course, people are starting to do it a little bit more. But I just want to, there is some sort of good sort of content on page 98. And again, it's very much a sort of similar thing as to the lapses. Like, we don't want to say no to eating out with friends and family simply because we're trying to live a healthy diet and lifestyle. Okay, so by all means, we definitely want to actually go and enjoy it. But again, if you can go and if you can have a steak and veggies rather than steak and chips, easy swap. Yeah, you know, it's still like it's those kinds of things that make it a little bit more manageable and mean that you don't sort of have a huge lapse as such. But I like the page on 99 because it just sort of does some easy swaps for you. So for example, go for clear broth soups rather than the creamy ones. You know, look at the way things are prepared. Is it fried? Is it deep fried? Try and go for a steamed option if possible. Go for sort of the fresh stuff. Go for your fresh salads, your sushi, that type of thing. Tomato-based pastas rather than creamy-based pastas. It's really, I mean, for you guys, this is all very, very straightforward. But rather than going for battered and crumbed options, go for, you know, grilled, oven-baked, that type of thing. I don't want to harp too much on this because I don't want to suck all the fun out of your lives. So I know that you need to, you know, if you want to go out for dinner and have a big, huge bowl of dessert, go and do that. Like, please don't feel too stressed about it. But just making sure that, you know, that most of the time you are making the best sort of choices that you can make for yourself. But yes, you can absolutely, if you've got a dinner date coming up that you want to sort of just look at and just sort of refresh your ideas around social eating, those 2 pages are really good ones for doing so. Mindful eating. Now, we did touch on this a little bit, but the practice of mindful eating it's the way that we eat, not so much what we're eating. Okay, so it's the way that we're eating. It's eating without being distracted. It's eating because we're hungry, not because we're tired, stressed, emotional. You know, it's eating for a functional reason, and it's sitting and enjoying and chewing slowly and recognizing how we are feeling. And perhaps if you're someone like Anne who doesn't ever feel full, then you can identify that, you know, that I'm not feeling very full yet. So perhaps I need to eat a little bit more to try and get satisfied as such. But that's the idea of mindful eating. It's the way in which you eat, okay? And it's taking the time to eat properly rather than just eat because it's that time of the day, or because you're sitting in front of the TV just gorging, or because, you know, it's eating for hunger as such. So it's like we all know, it's very easy to overeat, and it's very easy to overeat because we're not focused on the simple task of eating as such. We eat because we're not hungry. We eat because we're feeling tired or because we're feeling emotional. Did I take you guys through the HALT acronym? HALT? Yeah. No. Giuseppe saying yes and saying that's fine. I'll very quickly go through it again. But the HALT acronym is when you do think, I think I might just pop to the fridge again. I might just go and get a little bit of something to eat first, something to do as such. You go through the HALT acronym, which is H for hungry, A for anxious, wound up, L for lonely, sad, emotional, T for tired. Now, if you're anything but H for hungry, you need to find another strategy, because food is not going to fix an emotional problem. So if you're feeling any of these things, anxious, lonely, tired, if you're feeling anything like that, we need to find a better strategy. You need to find something that you can do that will give you that comfort, but isn't necessarily food, okay? So even if you wanted to write it on a bit of paper and stick it onto your fridge, that can be a good way to keep reminding yourself. If you're somebody that tends to eat a little bit out of boredom or a little bit out of, you know, anything bar hunger, okay? So, pardon me, some of the common reasons we might eat mindlessly, okay? So just like I spoke about, not recognizing the difference between hunger and non-hunger. Okay, so the HALT acronym is quite a good one to help you recognize, how am I actually feeling? What do I need here? Not stopping to listen to what our body cues are telling us. So stopping and checking in with how our body is feeling during the meal is really important, because you don't have to eat just to finish the plate as such. I know that for so many of us, it's what we were brought up to do, and there feels like we need to clean the plate every single time. But you don't have to. You're not doing anyone any favors. That food can be put aside and you can eat it for lunch tomorrow, or you can have it for dinner the following night. You don't have to eat everything off the plate simply to show a clean plate. Okay, I'd much rather you have food left on your plate but not feel so full and stuffed. Confusing hunger and thirst. Are you drinking enough water? It's a really simple one. So many people are not drinking enough water at all and then feel hungry, but actually sometimes a big glass of water can give your body what it's needing. Allowing ourselves to get too hungry. This is such a common one. I speak to so many people that they're not eating regularly. They'll go big blocks of time without eating anything. And then when they do get an opportunity to sit and eat, they eat everything because they're so starving, because they haven't eaten enough earlier on in the day. So eating regularly is really important as well. Eating an amount that should make us feel full, but not feeling satisfied. So that's a really common one as well. Eating enough food, but thinking I could still eat more. I still feel like I want more food. And again, it's checking in with yourself. Is it food that you want, or is it now that that you've had enough food, there's other things that you can do? Sometimes we just need to take ourselves away from the kitchen table and go and find something else to do, because the longer we sort of sit and think about what can I eat next, we tend to find things as well. Eating in case we might get hungry later. We've spoken about that before. Eating in response to emotions. Yes, absolutely. Eating because we're tired, eating because we're bored. Lots and lots of reasons why we overeat, but simply getting in touch with how you're feeling and what you really need is a great way to get started at trying to combat that overeating. We actually need a lot less food than what we eat. Definitely. So everyone, I'm sure, can work on portion control. It's something that we all sort of do need to, sort of get a little bit better at. So definitely, so when we are trying to become better at mindful eating, so better at checking in with ourselves, some of the tips that are helpful are just like we spoke about. So absolutely, eating regularly, eating every 2 to 3 hours. And that doesn't mean having big, huge portions every 2 to 3 hours, having something smaller, something with some protein in it. So then we feel fuller for longer, but then we don't get into that rut of feeling starving and then wanting to eat bucket loads. Okay. The HALT acronym is a really good one as well. So asking yourself a few questions. How am I actually feeling? What do I need here? Find yourself a nice place to eat and actually sit and eat. It's so common to see people, furiously working and stuffing some food in, or, eating whilst watching TV or doing jobs or, doing a million other things than actually just sitting and focusing and enjoying the food in front of them. It's a really important one, Eating whilst distracted is not beneficial for you. Definitely eating slowly, paying attention to the food you're eating, the texture, the taste, the smell, actually paying attention to the food that you are eating. A good thing to do when you're next eating is to count how many chews you actually take for each mouthful, because so many of us just do a quick 1, 2, 3, swallow, 1, 2, 3, swallow, 1, 2, 3, swallow. And then we eat the whole meal in record time and then say, oh, well, I'm still hungry. I guess I'll have something else to eat. But it's the fact that we haven't actually had a chance. Our gut hasn't even had an opportunity to realize that we've eaten yet, because we've just eaten it all so fast and swallowed it so quickly. So the next time we really should be chewing 10 to 20 times per mouthful. Like, that's a lot of chewing. So when you are next eating, I want you to see what that feels like and try try to chew more, try to sort of get more out of the food if possible. Putting your knife and fork down between each mouthful can be quite helpful for some people. Always, if you're somebody who can't help but have a second portion after dinner, give yourself 20 minutes before you go back for that second plate full of food, okay? It's absolutely my rule for everybody, because I almost guarantee that after 20 minutes, you will feel satisfied and you won't actually require that second helping. We sometimes go to get the second helping again before our brains have even registered that we've eaten something. So that's a really good one, to give that 20-minute rule. And if you're still hungry, by all means, go and have something to eat. Absolutely. But give yourself the time. Yeah. So the thing with the intermittent fasting, Melinda, intermittent fasting is where you restrict the window of food intake as such. So basically you might you might stop eating for 12 hours. So you might have your dinner at 7 o'clock and then you don't have anything else until 7 a.m. the next morning. So basically what it does is that because it restricts the window of time to eat, it restricts the amount of energy, the amount of calories that you can consume. So for some people, they find that it is helpful for weight loss because it gives rules. I can't eat after 7 p.m. and then I can't eat again until 7 a.m. For a lot of people, it doesn't work very well because they've got jobs that start early and they need to have had some brekkie, or they get too hungry, or when they do have their window of food eating open, they eat a lot more because then they're sort of trying to make up for the time in which they're not allowed to eat. So I think for some people it can be helpful just to sort of reduce that calorie intake as such. So they might find that they lose a little bit of weight. My only issue with it is that it doesn't really teach you anything about food and how to eat better. And it's not very sustainable. It's not something that you can do for the rest of your life as such. So it might work for a little while, but generally speaking, people then start to feel like, I just want to go back to eating when I want to eat. So yeah, like all of those things, there's definitely pros and cons. But I've seen it work well for some people, and then I've seen it not be so great for other people. So it just depends on, what you're sort of wanting it for. But yeah, a really, really great question. But by all means, trial it. It won't do you any damage. It won't hurt you at all. But yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind that it's not really it's not a long-term solution, I suppose, as such. Excuse me, I've been talking too much today. My voice is going. Now tell me, does anyone meditate?
No.
No.
No, I've tried, but I don't think I've tried enough. I always get distracted. I'm quite interested in doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can relate to that, Carolina. I always try and I always do get distracted. But when you speak to meditation gurus, they say that's absolutely fine. And that's the whole point, that it's okay to be distracted. It's doing it consistently that overcomes that. So I'm a bit the same. I've been trying to meditate. There's a really good app that is free called Insight Timer. Okay. So I actually use that one a lot too for my children when they're going to sleep at night. It's got sort of little 8-10 minute stories, but it's also full to the brim of really good meditations, and the meditations are from 6 minutes right through to an hour. And as soon as I try to even do a 10-minute one, I just fall asleep, but that's fine. I'm quite happy to fall asleep too, because that's obviously good for your brain. But the research now around meditation is so strong and so good that we all spend so much time on our phones and on computers and things that our brains are just constantly wired and constantly on. So giving that little circuit breaker of some meditation, literally for 10 minutes, has shown to have such wonderful positive effects, and also like for so many different reasons, but also to help strengthen your ability for mindfulness, for being present in the moment. So which is not only for mindful eating, it's for being mindful in your life in all ways, in all facets. But meditation is a really strong tool to try and assist and help build that strength in terms of mindfulness. So I do really strongly recommend that you keep working at it, that everyone try and find 10 minutes in their day for some meditation, just to help with being mindful, but also with your mindful eating. So yes, Insight Timer is absolutely a really great free meditating app, which I really, really like. And that then leads into stress as well, because obviously stress is such a big trigger for people, and it's such a common one for when people are feeling stressed and wound up and anxious and all of those feelings, to then look for food. For again, it can be for that bit of comfort, it can be for that sort of, that bit of relief, or whatever the reason is. But over and over again, food will not fix an emotional problem. So if you're finding that you're feeling stressed regularly, it's so important to try and find a way to help the stressor, help the problem that's actually causing you to feel stressed, because the food and looking for food can feel like a quick fix, but it generally doesn't fix anything. It just sort of ends up making us feel a bit more sort of guilty, feeling a little bit more sort of, frustrated and annoyed, and I shouldn't have eaten all of that. I'm so disappointed that I did, So looking at a way to fix the stress problem is one of the best things to do. And meditation is obviously also so helpful. So helping with stress, understand what situations make you feel stressed. I know, for example, getting my 3 daughters out the door to school every morning makes me feel stressed, because they drive me up the wall and don't listen to a thing I say, and we're always late. But I have identified that, and I now can feel when I am feeling myself getting sort of that like stressed feeling about, oh my God, we're going to be late again. I have to take a moment. I try to just ground myself, take a few deep breaths. It doesn't matter that we're late again. That's fine again. But helping identify those situations where I do feel stressed helps, because then I can preempt the stressy feeling that comes with it. Okay. Understand what situations you can and can't control. Like I have tried to control these 3 daughters getting out the door, and you know what? It just ends badly. So now I just go with it a bit more, and it definitely helps for me. Preparing for stressful events in advance by thinking about what's coming up, what's going to happen. I know it's going to be stressful again tomorrow morning, so I've just got to manage it and be more calm. And of course, keeping yourself healthy and exercising. There's no better stress relief than regular exercise. So absolutely, if there was no better reason to exercise, it's for stress, then do something that you really like every single day and meditate. I promise you that it will give your brain that little break that it needs. And there's no shame in seeking extra help. During COVID, sorry, I'm giving lots of personal experiences tonight, but during COVID, I found it really, really stressful. So I sought out some assistance and advice from a psychologist, which I haven't done before. But gee, it was just the most wonderful thing. And if you've never seen a psychologist before, I implore you to do it. Or maybe you see one regularly and you're already enjoying that. So absolutely, though, if you feel like stress is a big factor in your life, then please go and get some support for it, because getting those thoughts out of your head and into somebody else who's a neutral person is such a wonderful thing to do. So absolutely, sometimes we get confused by food and emotion and comfort, but actually we need to be looking at other ways to try and give ourselves that support that we need. Some ways to reduce stress if you are feeling stressed a lot: exercise, relax, eat well, sleep well. Now, sleeping well can be difficult for some people. Tell me, how does everyone sleep? Are you all okay sleepers, or are you pacing all night, or what happens at your house at nighttime?
Wake up too often.
What wakes you up?
I don't know. Oh, maybe noise outside.
Yeah.
Because I live in the city and
yeah.
It's
it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes
Have you
I just put earplugs in, and I definitely do sleep better, but I don't want to do it every night.
Yeah, I know. That's right. That's what I was going to say. My husband's a builder, and they have those little soft earplugs that go in that mold to their ears.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help. But I know, you're not really wanting to do that all night, every night. You need to just move to the country, and then you won't hear anything, Ro.
Yeah, no.
How about anyone else? Any other sleep issues, or does everyone sleep pretty well?
I sleep well generally.
Good.
We have a monitor for our son. And you become a bit sensitive to that, too sensitive. So that sometimes interrupts my sleep, even if he's not making even any noise, just moving in his bed. So I'm slowly turning down the volume now that he's older and things like that. But it's a process. But I think that in general I sleep well.
Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely. What were you going to say, Marilyn? You feel this?
Yeah, I've just found since I've changed my diet and I'm eating better, I'm sleeping so much better. Fantastic. It's made a really impact on my sleep.
Yeah, wonderful. That's great.
Because I used to, I'd be awake maybe 3 or 4 hours a night. But now I'm probably, I look off on my Fitbit, it tells me if I'm sleeping or not.
Good.
On average, I'm awake for about 15 minutes a night, which is
for me good. Really good.
Huge impact.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when you're not sleeping well, it just spoils your days. Like, no one can achieve anything when you're half psychotic from no sleep. So it is absolutely, if you're finding that you're routinely not sleeping well, it is worth going and speaking to your GP and getting some support around that. I mean, of course, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do about outside noise or about babies and those types of things, little kids. But absolutely, doing more exercise results in better sleep, of course, because you're sort of more physically tired. I find that what wakes me up a lot of the time is when my day has been so busy and I haven't had a chance to sort of unwind. And then I find that if I wake up at about 3 a.m, then I'm just wide awake going through all the jobs that I have to do, ticking all the things off, trying to so what I've started doing now is at nighttime before bed, I suppose you'd call it a journal, but it's just a crappy book that I found. But now I sort of try to write some things down before I actually go to sleep. So I do find that helps, because I think when you're not getting through, when your brain doesn't feel like it's downloaded properly, you eventually do it. And it's generally at silly o'clock when you're, irrational and should be asleep, So that's something that's definitely that I have found has been helpful. But sleep is so important, so important. If we're feeling exhausted and really, really tired, it's hard to make good food choices when we're feeling absolutely wrecked. So definitely, if you feel that, that you're not getting anywhere near 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, to go and get some support around that, because it can be really, really helpful. Absolutely. Does anyone have trouble going to sleep? Like, is going to sleep an issue for anyone, or are you able just to nod off pretty quickly? What about you, Giuseppe?
I was going to ask you in terms of strategy of resetting the body clock. So, because I sleep at later hours recently, because got to juggle work and plus some work writing a thesis. So I'm going like pretty late into the evening. So when I try to reset in the weekend, I find that I really do struggle. Like I'd be sitting there perhaps for like an hour and think, okay, nothing's happening there.
Yeah, because your body clock has shifted a bit. Yeah,
that's right.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, but I was, again, it's very similar because I was talking to shift workers today, and that's exactly what they were saying, that once their body clock has shifted into shift work mode, it's very hard to then go back the other way and try to undo it. There's a really good relaxation, technique called square breathing. So it's a good one to sort of visualize where when you're lying in bed, and it's sort of like a bit of a meditation, I suppose, but you basically picture a square and you breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, out 1, 2, 3, 4, in 1, 2, 3, 4, and out 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just go around that square to really calm your nervous system down. Okay. So that can be really helpful for just focusing your mind, relaxing, the square breathing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and around the square you go. That can be quite helpful. But of course, the same stuff applies for trying to go to sleep. We don't want you having any time on your phone before going to bed or any sort of stimulants. Be really careful of caffeine. Try to finish eating a couple of hours before sleep, so then you're not sort of digesting and your body's not working overtime when you're just trying to sort of snuggle down. Is your room comfortable? I always have to have my window wide open with lots of fresh air. I hate sleeping in a stuffy room. Not too hot, not too cold, making sure that you haven't had too much water just before going to bed so that you don't get up doing wee all night. So it's definitely about creating the right environment and the right sort of habitat for you and your sleeping, which does take practice, of course. But yes, really trying to unwind and relax and ensure that your brain is nice and calm. And yes, downloading that information before you actually then settle into bed, so you're not sort of doing it all night as such. But yeah, definitely. I know it's hard. Like sleep is hard. We focus so much on what we're doing in the daylight hours of wake time, but there's a lot to be said for focusing on what's going on when like overnight and really trying to make the sleep hours the best quality that they can be as well. So I don't have all the answers, but I hope there's something in there that's a little bit helpful. And Giuseppe, you've got a lot of work on, my friend. You're doing a lot, thesis and working, and goodness, you must be exhausted. So the very final bit that I want to touch on, actually, what is the time? Oh yeah, good. Okay, I'm not quite at 8 o'clock, but is talking about social support. Now, this is different for everyone. Some people don't really need social support. They feel as though they can make change themselves, regardless of, what family or friends are doing. For others, it's really important to have, that sort of, that moral support. So I'm sure by now you've either, spoken to friends and family about and told them that you've been doing the life program. And so I'm sure that you're already sort of down that path. But chatting openly with support people can be really, really beneficial because it makes you a bit more accountable. When you sort of say out loud, oh yeah, I'm actually working on trying to walk more, and I'm trying to work on not trying to eat too many sort of, poor food choices. I'm trying to sort of really focus on me and my health and well-being. When you say it out loud, it makes people generally, they want to support you, if they're the right people, of course. If there's someone that's saying that's a silly idea, then you just walk away from them because they don't know what the right thing to do is, obviously. But definitely finding your cheerleaders, finding the people who are your sort of support crew who will say, hey, rather than going and having coffee and cake today, I know that you're really working on this, so why don't we catch up by having a walk? Or going and having a hit of tennis or something like that. So that can be a really good way to sort of keep your motivation levels up, by having those people in your life that you sort of share this kind of stuff with, and you do it together, so you don't feel like you're just by yourself. And again, once you've sort of said it out loud, it has to keep you accountable. A girlfriend of mine, who I don't know why she still does, but she still smokes, and she said to me a couple of weeks ago, "That's it, I'm not smoking now." And I said, thank goodness. Like, can you just give up this silly addiction? It's enough now. So I've been messaging her every single day. I'm that annoying cheerleader friend, but I want her to succeed so much. So I have been, trying to be really, really supportive in a kind way. I'm not being bossy and mean, but I'm just trying to be supportive. But yes, the fact that she said it out loud to me meant, right, she's serious. She really wants this support now. So so I think it's just important that when you do say it, people respond and then support you as well. Having said that, there's also going to be saboteurs in our life. So people who sometimes like to, it's, if I was a smoker myself, then I would be that person saying, just come and catch up. We'll just have one cigarette, no one will even know. I wouldn't be a cheerleader. I'd be that person trying to sabotage her and her success. So if you've got people in your life where perhaps they really like to overeat, perhaps they really like to have McDonald's, or perhaps they really like to do things that aren't in line with your new health and well-being phase, you don't have to get rid of them from your life, but it can just be a bit strategic to sort of pick the people who you know are going to really support you at the moment, rather than those that perhaps are going to be looking at for their best own interests and not your best interests. So it's just mindful just to be aware of who those people are and pick and choose carefully a little bit at times. Support yourself, talk nicely to yourself. It seems so simple, but speaking really kindly to yourself and supporting and cheering yourself on is such a big part of this. So I love cheering you guys on, and I love hearing the positive changes that you're making, but you need to do it, because I can't live in your pocket. You need to do it yourself as well, and make sure that you keep saying, gee, I'm doing a good job. I walked this many times this week, or I'm really proud that I've cut sugar out of my coffee, or whatever it might be. But speaking really kindly to yourself is so important as well. Some tips to keep you going. And then finally, what have we got here? Oh yeah, so on page 108, 109 and 110, there's just some more sort of just some more opportunities just to continue the thought process, and just to a diary discussion is what they've termed it. So, what might you consider changing? What's going well for you? It's just, it just gives you the opportunity to really think out processes and think out things that are going on generally for you at the moment. And there's also an opportunity to reset your physical activity goals and your healthy eating goals as well. So if you feel like, I've actually done pretty well, because we all would have set goals together in our intro session. So if you feel like you've been achieving those pretty well, then it might be a good opportunity to reset some health goals and look at how you will go for the next block of time, because we now don't catch up for another 3 months or so. So now we've just had session 4, and then we'll have session 5. I don't have the date here in front of me, I'm so sorry, but it'll be in around 3 months. It's 6 months from the first date we started, from session 1. So in about 3 months' time, we'll get together again for session 5. So you will now go forth and conquer. You have all the information, you have your workbook, you have my email address. So if there's anything that you want to ask me, or you want to sort of, just check in on, or whatever it might be, you're very, very welcome to do so. But what I do ask of each of you, and it is a requirement from Diabetes Victoria, after tonight's session, I'm going to send you a questionnaire on an email, okay? And I really need you all to quickly do the questionnaire for me and then just send it back to me, okay? So it's just asking the same questions again about fat, fiber. It's just really capturing, because we got your baseline data when we first did the intro session together. We went through fat, fiber, physical activity, all those things. Now we're going to capture some more data to see what's happened for you in the past 3 months. Since we started doing these group sessions, what's changed, what's different for you? So then we can compare your data. But Diabetes Victoria give me 1 week to upload all of this information after tonight. So if you could please get that back to me in the next couple of days, I would be so grateful. And if you forget, it's okay. I will just keep harassing you until you get it back to me, okay? So don't worry, no one gets away without doing it, because I have to. I'll have Diabetes Victoria on my back. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, I would be very, very appreciative of that. I've spoken so much. Does anyone have any questions?
Actually, I was actually going to email you, but I haven't got around to it. As I said, I'm doing this mainly for osteoarthritis, as you know, to alleviate it. Is there any sort of dietary things that are good or bad for arthritis?
Oh, it's a very, very good question. The things that are always going to be really, really good for osteoarthritis, well, in particular arthritis, it's going to be your essential fatty acids. So it's going to be your really good oils and your good fats. If you feel, Anne, that you're not having a lot of, if you're not having much fatty, oily fish, then a fish oil supplement can be a really good thing to take if you're not already taking that. And then, of course, the food products such as avocados, oils, nuts, seeds, and then sort of your oily, fishy, like mackerel, sardines, those types of things. But if that's not something that you regularly eat, then getting a fish oil supplement could be another really good way to do it.
What about apple cider vinegar?
The jury's out on that. It's the research behind it is not very strong. So, but it's a case.
I bought some. It's very strong.
Very strong. Yeah. Fairly unpleasant. But it's not going to do you any harm. So if you notice a positive difference, then fantastic. But the research is just not there to support it as such, But again, a Mediterranean diet is what we would sort of be erring on the side of for somebody with arthritis. So again, all of those really good fats, all of your whole grains, your white meats, not so much of your red meats as such, but still having some. Of course, we still want you to be having plenty of calcium as well, because, of course, the calcium is going to be really good for your bones and things.
Yeah, I'm not a really good dairy person, so I'll have to
try and do that. There are also some, I mean, even just going and speaking to your chemist and asking for a calcium supplement that can be purchased over the counter too, if you feel that you're not getting enough calcium in your diet through milk and yogurt and cheese and those things. Almonds are a really good source of calcium though as well. So if you prefer to eat almonds, you can do that too. All of your leafy greens, having lots of leafy greens will also be really helpful as well. So so hopefully there's something in there that's a bit helpful, but by all means go and see your pharmacist as well, because they will have oodles of things as well for you to choose from depending on what you are and aren't getting from diet. But good question. Arthritis is challenging. I hope that it settles a bit for you. Anybody else with any questions?
Just any cholesterol tips?
Cholesterol, cholesterol. For cholesterol, it's being really mindful of your saturated fat. So it's looking and trying to really reduce red meat, trying to reduce things like cheeses and yogurts and butters, not having too much sort of fatty products as such. And again, the same thing as what I was just saying to Anne, absolutely, the Mediterranean diet. So having sort of all those really good oils and your avocados and nuts and seeds and olive oils and those types of things. Also having loads of fresh veggies and fruit, having a big variety, having your whole grains. So opt for your sort of brown rice, your brown pasta, brown breads, not having white breads as such. And yeah, going for your leaner cuts of meat, having your sort of white meats and your fish and your chicken and those types of things rather than big lumps of fatty steak. Red meat's so expensive at the moment anyway, so it's an easy one to skip over a little bit. Marilyn, what were you going to ask a question?
Yeah. Sorry, hon. Yeah, no. Just my blood pressure. It used to be about 140/90. Now I've got it down to 115, but for my systolic, but my diastolic's still hovering about 86. I can't. No, I don't seem to have a lot of salt. I'm just looking at everything I eat, and there's nothing. I hardly ever add any salt to anything now. Occasionally, if I'm cooking pasta, I still put it in pasta because I can, But other than that, I don't add it to anything. And And I don't eat. Like I'm off processed meats and all the stuff. I just don't know. Apparently, they said potassium's supposed to be good.
Certainly. So having a regular banana is a really, really good thing to do, but also just having a wide variety of fruits and vegetables is a really important thing to do. Making sure that you are getting your exercise in, really important, keeping that heart moving and pumping and doing all of that. The thing is though as well is that sometimes it is simply not a lifestyle thing. It's a genetic thing, or it's just, and the fact that your systolic has come down is wonderful. So don't discount that because the diastolic hasn't come down as much as you would like. The fact that it's trended that way is the biggest win. So I wouldn't focus too much and your blood pressure does this all day long as well. So you might find that when you take your blood pressure first thing in the morning when you've just woken up, that it is lower, so so definitely keeping on exercising as much as you can, resting, but also again, like I know I keep saying this, but the Mediterranean diet is absolutely the best way of approaching things,
and it's working for me. I've done it, it's doing really well, but I'm just concerned about that was the only thing, because I've got heart disease and stroke in the family, and they say the diastolic is the one that affects strokes particularly. So,
that's you're right to feel worried. Yeah, that's right. It's hard not to sort of, absolutely. And I do agree. It is hard just to not feel worried about it. But the fact that, I would still be feeling really pleased that it has dropped down even just slightly. A few points on a diastolic reading is still a wonderful thing. So just continue doing what you're doing and be consistent. Okay? So it's really, really important. But we've only been together for a few months and you've already seen big change and you're already doing so many things. So imagine what you'll be seeing in 3 months' time again, and then in another, So let's go slowly, but also be really proud of what you already have done. So no cause for concern just yet. It's great that it is trending that way already. So that's great. Excellent. Okay. Well, Carolina, you need to go to bed. You look so, you're
I'm
done.
So sorry. No, I'm listening. It's just, not feeling
Don't apologize. No, go. No.
But it's all helpful. And thanks again. I'm getting a lot out of these sessions.
I'm so pleased. Thank you. That's so good. Okay, let's all go to bed and everyone hopefully go and have a really, really nice, well, not Giuseppe, because he's got about 6 hours of thesis writing to go. But it's been so nice to see you all. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. And I'll send you an email closer to the time when we're due for our 5th session. Okay. And yes, if I don't receive your questionnaires, I'll haunt you. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good luck.
Thanks, Katie.
Good luck. Bye.
Bye.